Hello, everyone. Welcome to Silver Tears Tarot. We're doing a soulmate snapshot today. Um, this one comes from when I do the soulmate snapshots, a lot of times it's something that has come up in the energy that needs to be addressed right away, or I got multiple emails from people saying the same thing, and this is that one. So I didn't get as many emails this time as I have sometimes about, oh my gosh, what happened overnight. I woke up and things are crazy. It wasn't exactly that, but it's more that waking up with this extra like idle energy and just I feel like I need to do something. I know you said yesterday don't call them, but do I call them? That kind of just this idle energy that wants to come out and wants to be something wants to happen. So let's look into that. It's a general reading, but it's for this collective. So as I always say, may not resonate with everybody, really shouldn't resonate with everybody because it's just really a reading for the folks in this collective. But if that's you, maybe just subscribe and hang on for the ride because we have been having the ride of a lifetime here in this situation ever since I came out to YouTube. It's just been a lot of intense messages, a lot of them very much connected. So we're going to look into like what is it that this thing is that you need to do. First, we're going to look into the energy of today, like we typically do. Otherwise, it's hard to know sometimes what light or how to take what we're hearing. Okay, so there's a feeling of jumping off into something new, which frankly doesn't surprise me based on the energy of the emails that I was getting and the messages I was getting. This is the White Heart. It's like the equivalent of the Fool in this deck. And it's new beginnings. It's that kind of energy of jumping into something that maybe you don't quite know what you're going to do. Maybe you don't quite know how things are going to work out. We've got the Goddess cards. This is like the equivalent of the Empress. And then, okay, there is the Sun. It's like the Sun in reverse. And we've got like the World card in reverse. Okay, so we have something that isn't where it needs to be, and it's finally like it is time to change it. Something is unfinished with the World in reverse. There's a missed opportunity. It's something that's been sticking in both of your it's kind of been sticking in both of your consciousness, something that has never had an opportunity to go away, and it feels like something has matured and it's now time to go forward to it. So it's got this definite feeling of almost pushing you forward to do something different, a different approach to something than you've taken in the past. Man, I'm curious to see what this is. Okay, so we have the Elemental of Fire, but in reverse. This is control. Okay, then we have the Ace of Water, but this is a really interesting take on that Ace of Water or that One of Water. There is a new truth infused into this water, and it's like the sword of truth is infused into this cup of emotion, and that is an incredibly powerful and unbeatable, unmistakable kind of feeling, and yet they're looking to control it. There is a sense of wanting to control this and to just shut it down if at all possible. Whew. This is like, what is going on? This has erupted. This is not something that has been slowly building. This wasn't in yesterday's energy, you guys. This is the Six of Wands, victory at the end of a long battle, Six of Fire rather, and then we've got the Seven of Earth. I feel like I deserve this. I have planted these seeds and here I am. Whoa. What in the world? You know what it feels like? It feels like your person had a dream and they woke up and it was an incredibly vivid, lifelike type of dream, but it was the one that sets them back on the path in your direction. I don't know. I mean, I think that's what happened. Like, I think they had a dream and it's really difficult for them to um, to get past it. You know, they just, yeah, and they can't shake it off. That's a tough one. Oh my goodness. This has got all right. So remember in yesterday's reading there was this advice for you to not make rash decisions, okay? And this is that sense of this is downright patience. It's like they had this dream, um and in some cases, I think it's going to have been a waking dream, but in a lot of cases, it wasn't. And they all of a sudden felt that star card feeling of inevitability even more strongly. We saw it come out for them yesterday, and that was part of the reason they were able to say, you know what, it is what it is. This is something that is going to happen, is inevitable, has already basically, there's a path already. There's not much that anything or anybody can really do about it. We have this feeling again of being unleashed from what binds them. This is like when we saw, this is the equivalent of the devil card that came out in reverse yesterday also for your person. And it was in that energetic backdrop, but it was heavy in their energy and just kind of getting unhooked from something that has controlled them. There's a new impetus here. There's a realization that they made, and it was like they thought they were going to need a couple weeks to work their way through it. And instead, it didn't take anything like that amount of time. That's what I'm getting in this current energy. But I also get that you are just as alive and on the edge as they are. So let's learn a little bit more about this. There's this feeling like, I need to do something. I need to do something. Let's look at what's driving that. And so we see that something has changed with them. We know that we already knew that there was a bit of a new perspective, because that was something that had come out in the readings before, and it came out yesterday again. We have the 10 of Visions, okay? So the 10 of Visions is like the 10 of Cups, but in the reverse here. It talks about that, what do I do when I run into the thing? So this is an outrageous amount of fear about lessons not yet learned. What do they do when they run into the perfect situation? They haven't worked their way through it. They don't necessarily say the right thing. There's a situation where they feel like they're awkward. This is you. This is where they came in contact with you. They had the soul recognition, which like we saw in yesterday's reading. If you didn't see that one, if you didn't see that extended, you may want to go back and watch that one, because one of the things that came out in yesterday's reading extravaganza was that they manifested you coming in and weren't ready for it. Like they manifested you and this soul connection. They pulled this together. They're the reason that you have had this soul recognition together, and then they now have to learn this lesson of, all right, what do you do when you bring in, like, it's like you wished for something and then you got it, and now what? And we've seen a lot of that from them. But it's like so they have a hard time facing it. This is the one of air. Again, coming out in readings. This is that Ace of Swords, that same energy. Air is swords. And the one is the ace. And then we also have the 10 of fire in reverse. So there's a lot of consternation, a lot of holding on to things they don't necessarily need to be holding on to. And it's a super challenging feeling because they just need to be able to set down things that they can't necessarily control. But there is so much ego at play here that it's really kind of making it impossible to do so. But the issue is, for them, anyway, they now are starting to recognize how much of that ego is getting in their way. Interesting. So what I'm feeling is just that kind of powder keg feeling of things that are building up and becoming more challenging and unnerving almost. There's a sense of things getting unnerving. So we've got the Wisdom card. This is like the High Priestess. It's a connection. This is that dream. This is that message that has come through to really urge both of you forward. And yet it's like there's this pressure. We've seen pressure building in some of these readings here lately, but it's like this push at the same time as being pushed in another direction. So you're both being very much magnetized toward one another while still constantly being told, this isn't the right time. This isn't the right time. And it's creating some very challenging dynamics for you. little bit of a codependency sort of feeling that's happened there. You've got this Nine of Pentacles. This is that energy that brings you forward, the energy that allows anyone to have any semblance of stability. It's all coming from within you, all of that stability. So if it feels like there's a little extra draw on your stability and your ability to have that kind of energy, it's because there is. Okay, let's look in here a little bit more. There's something going on here. So this is part of why it feels like you need to do something, and it has to do with the way the energies are pulling together, magnetizing together today, particularly strongly. And I noticed it in the term or in the emails, but I also noticed it at, man, it's the pressure, the feeling of pressure is palpable. I feel frustrated and like I don't know where all the exits are. Just sitting in this energy, and that's something that usually I don't usually find myself there. You know, I'm usually feeling not necessarily confident, but at least like, oh, it's all right, I'll be okay. But here it feels like your hands are tied and you're wearing a blindfold and you know the place is on fire and you have no sense of smell. Like it's an uncomfortable sort of feeling of things are going to change. And so it feels like you can't just stand there and do nothing, but you don't have enough of an indication of where you need to move yet, to know what that next step ought to look like. And here it is, the sense of nothing moving forward and it feeling like go time. With the elemental of air, you're almost going to employ getting in your mind and using your logical side on this. And I am not convinced that this is a helpful energy at this time, because nothing is moving. It's like trying to use wind energy, air energy, and not having any breeze, you know, not having anything to turn the turbines. That's what this reminds me of. It's a really uncomfortable feeling, but it's one that your person would really love to be able to scoot on out of. But this is a situation where it's not that easy. They're not going to be able to get back out of it that easily. We have that Eight of Earth card coming out in the reverse, talking about the emotional self-mastery that we've seen this in a couple of readings. This is where you're finding the edges of your healing and what you're able to do. But again, it just adds to this energy of overall consternation. That is one of the things that just wants to come out. There's a lot of intensity, not a lot of organization in this energy. A lot of fuzzy-headedness, a lot of disorganization, and having a hard time getting things into line. That can be a big challenge. There's a definite sense of wanting to let go, but not even being able to get things to line up well enough to do that. It's like the best intentions, but nothing really working out. This is part of what's in this energy, and it's just this crazy disjointed energy. I guess the question is, you know, what are you supposed to do with this? So we get it, we've got it spelled out for us that things are very challenging in the energy right now. It's very challenging for both of you, but in particular, the shared energy between the two of you is challenging. And that in combination with things that are happening in your personal lives is not necessarily making things a whole lot easier. So let's look at that practical advice for you, and just kind of see what wants to come out there. We always like to get that. Now today it feels like it's easily the most important thing that we need to do today. So, all right. There's a feeling here like you need a harmony. You need to find a harmony. This is the Huntsman. And it feels like there's a need to find harmony in yourself, quietude, time in nature. Just get away as much as you can from all this. Do a little bit of breathing, do a little bit of meditation, do a little bit of focus on something that isn't this situation for a little while, because this is the kind of day where both of you could be driven insane by some of the Just like I get that sense that there's been a lot of dream connection, dream energy sort of connection. Um, your energies came really close together in the last few weeks, a lot closer than they had been. Even if in the 3D you guys only had brief interaction. But there's just been a lot more closeness, and I think this is still some of the impact of that. You're still learning to do that, because remember, now you're supposed to be learning these lessons, but you're supposed to be continuing to do so in closer energetic quarters. So it like ratcheted up the difficulty of it a little bit on you. So you've got the Six of Earth. Again, you're not accepting anything that isn't equal give and take. That's what this Six of Earth wants to tell you. With the Eight of Water in reverse, it's telling you there are still some things that you need to understand about what's going to make you happy. That's that quest for the Nine of Cups, the quest for your wish fulfillment and truly understanding what it is that is going to make you happy, because it's not necessarily what you thought, but not because you don't know yourself, more because these things change. So we've got the spellcasting card. This is the equivalent of the strength card, and I like to think of it as being very similar to a manifestation type of card. So like we saw over here with the elements, that's like manifestation, or the magician card in the reverse. This is like having the strength card in the upright, but really it's about getting past some fears. Just like the strength card often is, doesn't work in a vacuum. This is one that is, we want that one. I'm not used to those cards coming out upside down and still wanting to come out. We've got the elemental of earth. The earth, that steady earth energy really comes out in this. It's a steady, confident, consistent energy, and it's relying on that energy within yourself. There's a lot of that within you that can help to carry you. Okay, so we've got the Yule card coming out in reverse. This is like the Death card in this deck. And so the Death card talks about change, change that has to happen in order for the old to be cleared out so that the new can grow in its place. And this is a resistance to doing that. So this is a little bit of a warning. It's going to be very difficult to manifest if you're not able to do this. But the comfort of this elemental of earth may make it difficult for you to go out with the old so you can go in with the new. You've got the Four of Cups here. Things aren't what you expect them to be, as far as there's going to be something here that you see differently than you previously did, but it's not necessarily something that you love. So might be something that you thought you wanted before, that you get a little bit closer to it and realize you don't actually want this. And it takes being in this huntsman sort of mindset to figure that out, and to figure out what's wrong with it, which really is, it doesn't have the equal give and take. It doesn't give you what you're giving. And when you look back on your experiences, some of them with your person, that's really going to help to enhance your ability to take in this message, to see it when it comes, and to say, oh, you know what, I'm not going to do this. There's something that you're not going to do. Because we see this energy of you being completely willing to jump into something new. But there's going to be something here that you don't do, because you use some discernment that you have really developed here in the last few weeks than any other time. Okay, so you have the Three of Water. It's like the Three of Cups. This is the energy of almost social. It's almost social, but it's more just pure joy, happiness, allowing energy to flow. We also have the Beltane card, which is like the Lover's card. Notice here that it's in the upright. This is one we've seen in the reverse of late quite a bit. And it has to do with not having choices, or not feeling like you have choices. But with it here, the way that it's showing up, you not only have choices, but you're very aware of it. We've got the Maiden of Earth, which is about learning lessons and keeping yourself open to the lessons, and Maiden of Water, which is a card of inspiration and beauty and newness, youthfulness, not being afraid of what you see off in the past or off in the distance, and not being afraid of the things that you're able to overcome with this energy of strength and manifestation. Okay, so the upshot is, If I have to break this down, I would just say there is a ton of energy going on. It's going to make you feel like you need to get busy. Go ahead and get busy, but make sure that it's in your own direction. It's going to feel so connected with your person, but that's because the level has ramped up because your energies are so much closer together. So learning these lessons in close energetic proximity is challenging, and it's one of the reasons that you had been moved into separation in the first place, because these lessons are easier to learn without the additional distraction. Now with their energy so close, it does feel distracting. So I'm going to go ahead and stop here. I think we heard what we needed to here, but now it's a matter of just kind of trying to figure out, all right, how do I redirect this into a place that is productive? And it's got to be all about you, and not all about them. It's about not focusing on them for a little bit. Okay, so that is what wanted to come out in today's Soulmate Snapshot. I hope this was helpful for you. We'll get back to it tomorrow. I'm still trying to decide what we're going to talk about, but I think after some of the notes I got from yesterday's reading, I think we might go into messages from the Divine Masculine. So I think that's probably where we're headed. If not tomorrow, then definitely sometime soon. So have a wonderful rest of the day or evening, and thank you so much for joining.